Should we both intro?
Oh, here we go. Ready?
One,
two,
three, two. We're so back.
Hello, and welcome back. That worked well. It's almost like we've forgotten how to do podcasting. Look at this.
That was smooth. That was like a set of intermediate tires kind of level of smoothness.
Yeah, straight on. Straight on. Hello, welcome back. It's the Lapdown Podcast. We tried to do that together in sync, and we botched that pit stop. But we are here. And we took a little bit of a summer break as well, because Dan has just commentated on about 18 days worth of cricket in about 4 days. And it's just, look, everything happens. Everything happens. But we're back now, and we're sprunting, which just caught both of us by surprise.
It has. And how good is it that we're sprunting? I even checked the official Formula One website 5 minutes ago and decided that it definitely wasn't a sprint weekend. And then I checked it again, and it is a sprint weekend. Yes. So that's great. And plus as well, like with our summer break, you might have been keeping up with Formula One drivers, and you might have seen videos of Lando Norris on yachts, maybe. Mm-hmm. You might have seen pictures of Lewis Hamilton with Kim Kardashian. Yes. You might have seen, did other things happen? I suspect they probably did. But you and I, we've not done that. This podcasting life, look, we're not in Saint-Tropez during the summer break. We are at the coalface working away to keep this podcast going.
Yeah.
All you lap downers. Can we call people lap downers? Are we all lap downers? Or are we a collection of blue flagged? What would be the collective name for the listeners of our podcast?
I don't think, from an utter woke nonsense kind of standpoint, they can be lap downers, unfortunately. I think there is a brand safety risk associated with that. Hey, I'll take suggestions on it.
Yeah.
It is innocent. I will take suggestions on it though, of what a collective group of lap down listeners should be. Yeah, hey, we're ready to go. I've seen a lot of nipples over the summer break. A lot more driver nipples than I would necessarily have expected to see. Lewis Hamilton was doing rig snaps in what appeared to be a service station restroom. Not entirely sure why he decided that was the way to go. Apparently, every time he posts a topless photo, someone high profile gets fired, and then Cadillac lost their team principal. Are
they high profile enough to qualify for that?
Look, by definition, I'll say yes.
Okay,
but
fine.
Then by other definitions, less so.
What are your top 5 nipples on the Formula One grid?
Oh, I mean, I feel like Ham's a good nipple, right? It's a good
nips.
It's a good one to collect, I think.
Mm-hmm.
You see a lot of Jorge Russell nip. He doesn't mind getting them out.
Yeah.
Ollie Bearman doesn't mind a nip. What I will say about Ollie Bearman, and look, this is not going to be 35 minutes of us just describing F1 driver bodies. That's not quite the
non-lactating body parts.
However, Ollie Bearman has done a lot of cycling recently, seemingly.
Okay.
I'm seeing I keep seeing him essentially doing ads for cafes and stuff while wearing cycling gear. I don't quite know the tie-in. Ollie, we can all see your Bearman when you're in the cycling gear. And it's long been my issue with cycling gear is that science hasn't quite worked out how to maintain levels of
how to disguise the hog.
Dignity's not the word, but decorum. We haven't got levels of decorum in cycling gear. Mm-hmm. So I've seen a lot more of Ollie Bearman over the summer break than I was intending on seeing. And that's how I spent my 4 weeks. So it might have been cold. Who knows? I don't know if they had the heating on.
Ooh, so you weren't impressed?
Look, who knows? It's
you didn't. No, but sometimes you can see things and you can go, fair enough. It doesn't sound like your initial reaction was, fair enough. It was maybe it was cold.
If we go to Club Cricket Land, Club Cricket Land, which is where we operate best,
yes.
If Ollie Bearman is tubsing with Lewis Hamilton, Ollie Bearman is getting out of the shower quite quickly and saying, "That's fine. I just needed a quick rinse off because I was a bit."
Yeah. Towel around the waist immediately, type
which is,
thing.
I think, true of most Formula One podcasts. By the way, let's keep talking about dicks. Where are we going? Should we talk about helmets? Should we go from dicks to helmets?
Should we talk about helmets?
We should talk about helmets, I think.
That
I
feels
think he
like the
deserves
natural
top of the show.
progression, doesn't it?
Yeah, he deserves the top of the pod. It's a bloody good helmet
tip.
for Lando this weekend. Yeah. Get Lando's helmet on the tip of the pod. It's a good helmet. It's a very good helmet.
Good. It's nice. It's nice. It's shiny. I feel like he had a sparkly job. I feel like he had an embezzled, vajazzled helmet for the last time we went to the Dutch Grand Prix as well. I couldn't say for certain because we're not a fact-based Formula One podcast.
No.
But we work on feels, and I feel as though there was a bit of kind of jazzy jazz going on with Lando's helmet last time. But this is good, isn't it? This is that kind of mirrored, kind of pearlescent, metallic, shiny effect going on again with the original Lando swirly, wormy bits around the bits and bobs, and it does look good. It really does. It does feel as though, now, criticism is fair, and I will give this as fair criticism. It does feel as though it would have been better in Singapore under the lights. Yes. However, on some dingy North Sea beach in Holland, we'll take it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a sponsored helmet with Alienware, and we'll shout out Alienware, in which case, they may wish to send us some computer parts, because
what do they do?
Computer parts.
Like what? Mice's?
Mice's and the keys, and to be fair, they do all of it. They make very expensive laptops. They're a Dell subsidiary, so it's actually a pretty logical combo, bearing in mind that Dell sponsor McLaren. So there's a bit of incest going on there in your sponsors. But it's the best kind of sponsored helmet, I think, where they've gone, we'll give you some money, sponsor your helmet, make a cool helmet. It looks a little bit Alienware-y. Alienware does a lot of like RGB and colors and stuff on their gear, so it sort of fits. I agree with you. It reeks of Singapore, or at the very least a night race. It just feels like that would have been very nice and reflective and stuff like that. But I'll take a nice helmet anytime I can take a nice helmet, and I imagine he's probably got something lined up for Singapore as well. I can't imagine him just rocking around Singapore with a standard helmet. So nice to see. Nice helmet.
Yeah, Lando will 100% be bedazzling his helmet by the time we get to Singapore. He's a multi-special helmet kind of guy, isn't he? You don't just get one special helmet from Lando, you get multiple, and we know we've got a lot. We got half of the Grand Prix season to go, plus of course the additional Bahrain Grand Prix in Malaysia. So there is still a good chance that we're going to see plenty of extra bits and bobs from Lando's lid, which is nice. I haven't seen any other special helmets yet. I know
there was one, but it's an unfortunate one. Isaac Hadjar had revealed a special edition helmet for this weekend. Had a little cartoon on the back of him where he broke the trophy last time, pulling the face. It was a cute little helmet. It was a nice nod kind of helmet. I don't think it was a full special edition helmet. It was like back of head had a motif on it. That might be a collector's item now.
Yeah, I'll have it.
Yeah, I'll give it to you.
I'm okay with it. If it's going spare, I'll take it.
Which it is. It is completely going spare because he's not racing. Do we have any? There's no other helmet chat, is there? Before we get into
Max
the
hasn't
larger
got one.
story. No, did he? Is he still on his triple?
Oh, is he? Yeah, he could be with his extra yellow bit, orange bit.
Yeah, I have a feeling that he.
This is the last bit of the triple header.
Yes, I believe. Yeah. Oh wait, no. Max Verstappen unveiled a special Delftware-inspired helmet for his final home Grand Prix.
What's that? What's
kind of
Delftware?
Like I think it's the people that make the trophy. I'm not going to research it, but not that kind of podcast. Yeah, I think it's like the pottery one that Lando did a couple of years ago.
Okay.
That's what we've got there. Yeah, it is. It's that. It looks like got flowers and stuff on it. Nice. It's nice. It's a classy helmet. I'm happy with.
Is that blue? Like predominantly blue?
White with
Yeah.
blue detailing.
Okay. You can get a 1 in 4 replica version of it
Mm.
on the official Red Bull shop.
Mm-hmm.
£79.95p.
I'm probably fine. Thank you. I'm
I
probably
still
fine
think
without that.
we've not answered my question from a while ago with these small helmets. That
Yes.
if you were a small person, i.e., a child, could you just like use it? Like, does it work? I mean, I wouldn't recommend kind of going headfirst into a crash barrier with it, but I mean, like, surely you could just like pop it on your noggin for a bit and strut around the house, thinking that you're Max, right?
Well, I'm now also on the Orb shop. It's 40% plastic, 20% 20% foam, 20% polyester. So that implies that there's a foam insider.
I'd say that's composite materials.
Yeah, I don't know whether how big's a 1 to 4 mini helmet?
Well, I
How
assume
small a
if you
person
if you
do you
think
need to
of
be?
your head and shrink it by 4, I'd imagine you're getting kind of to that kind of number.
Surely that's too small a helmet to fit on anyone at that point.
Yeah, maybe like fresh out the womb.
Yeah, but their heads are squidgy. That feels like you're going to end up with a
Well, it
helmet-shaped
seems
baby.
like the perfect thing to protect your newborn baby's head then.
Yeah, it's just that you might deform the
Or
child.
it would come out perfectly formed in the shape of a Formula One helmet when you start Project Verstappen.
Yes, fair. No, fair. I think actually, ultimately, yeah, we've come to the right conclusion. There is that we should be putting 1 to 4 helmets on all newborns that you think might become prodigies in racing.
Yep.
Yeah, fine. No, good.
Cool.
Good. Happy with
Good.
it.
Box it off.
Isaac Hadjar's out. There you go. We're quick to
Yeah.
that news. My main question about Isaac Hadjar being out, all of the moves seem really logical, right? Yuki Tsunoda comes in. That makes sense. He's the reserve driver. Why would you not just put Yuki Tsunoda in the main team, keep Liam Lawson where he is at Racing Bulls? Because if I'm looking at least possible disruption, they've now double disrupted, and they've disrupted both teams now by moving a driver from one team to the other and then backfilling into there. Why would you not just? I mean, Yuki's not shit. Like, why? If he's your backup driver, why would you not just have one disruption? Isaac Hadjar out, Yuki Tsunoda in, and then Racing Bulls are going fine. They're going well. Just leave them to keep going well. I don't really see what they stand to gain by shuffling Liam across, Yuki into the backup. That just feels like that might make the backup worse and the better team not much better.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, how much better is Liam Lawson than Yuki Tsunoda? I think this is that's the other big thing here. Whether we think about Red Bull and VCarb all being one big family and then just kind of plugging and playing their pieces as and when they want to. But if Lawson was like 25% the better driver than Tsunoda, which I respectfully don't think it's that big of a margin, for one weekend, does it actually matter? I mean, what? Here you go. Here's something that maybe might have been worth looking at before we get into it. Where are Red Bull in the
research
team standings? Is it worth it for them? I mean, I'm just looking now. They're on 177 points. There is absolutely no chance, on several reasons, but one being mathematical, that the Racing Bulls will get past them because they're on 66. So they're over 100 points behind. And they're about 50 points behind McLaren as well in third place. So no, that doesn't make any sense either. I don't know. Completely agree with your point. I don't see the point. I don't get it. Unless maybe they've got Lawson's kind of overalls just kicking around from some media shoot from earlier on in the year or something like that. But then Yuki had Red Bull overalls last year, didn't he? Or was he a V-carb boy last year? What happened to Yuki?
What happened to Yuki? That's just that's a whole podcast on its own. But Yuki is, if he's the backup driver, he's probably doing sim work, Like he's probably actually driven that Red Bull, considerably more and more often than Liam Lawson. I'm sure there are sensible people within Red Bull that this decision makes sense on their side. I just can't see why. it doesn't make much sense to me why you would go a full double shuffle like that. And we'll have an email from Dan later on about, he's given us a little bit of info about the workings of the two Red Bulls, but that you're asking for cross contamination there. But actively you are cross contaminating. You've just cut your chicken on your same board you're about to cut your veggies on. Like it just seems odd to me. It seems odd, but come on, Yuki, up the ukes. Have a good little weekend. Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah. Does he now become available for super picking this weekend?
Oh, it's a question.
It's worth thinking about later on in the episode, isn't it? But yeah, don't know.
Interesting. And if you pick Liam Lawson now, you're getting Liam Lawson in better machinery.
Potentially, in theory.
Machinery he's not driven for a while. And is he going to absolutely wring the neck of that thing, or is he going to drive it safely and not crash it?
Yeah, he's quite good as like the emergency driver for the Dutch Grand Prix, isn't he? Because he came in to replace Ricciardo, didn't he? After Ricciardo parked it in the wall last time or the time before.
A couple back now, but yeah, loves a broken wrist. Loves a broken wrist.
Maybe it's a thing.
Does our Liam?
Maybe it's a thing.
Yeah, I am going to ask the question of why is Isaac Hadjar punching a bag of sand during the summer break with such ferocity as to break his own wrist. Like that feels. I appreciate they're athletes and they're going to train and they're going to do the gym and stuff. But if I'm a surgeon and my main job is hands, I'm probably not punching things as training. Maybe weights, cardio. Yeah, as another option. Just seems odd to me. It's like the skiing,
cycling.
Thing. Yeah.
Cycling
all
could be an option.
Things.
Yeah, it feels like a hard one to explain, doesn't it? Like turning up to the nurse at the Red Bull offices, because I assume they have one of those. What's up, Isaac? What's happened? I've hurt my wrist. Oh, that does look painful, doesn't it? What were you doing? I was just training. Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, that's a shame, isn't it? Like, it's obviously that's a little bit of a mishap. What were you training? I was boxing. Oh, okay. Yeah, I could see how that happens because obviously the punch in and you don't quite get it right. And I assume what were you doing? You were sparring or like working on the bag or the big kind of thing, like whatever. And he's like, yeah. I was working on the thing, and I said, what was it you punched? I punched a sandbag. Oh. Those things that they use to kind of like create temporary kind of structures with and keep floodwater out and quite heavy, solid things. Yeah, those ones. Yeah. Okay. Well, you just sit here, Isaac. I'm going to go and speak to the head teacher. And we're going to see how we take this forward. It feels like an awkward kind of half an hour, doesn't it, for Isaac Hadjar to explain that? Yeah.
Does he still get... I assume he still gets fully paid. I know we come back to this argument a lot of, the best thing in the world, I think, is to be
or something.
Franchise cricketer that doesn't get picked. But, good life for a couple of weeks. Slightly sore wrist, but I don't have to make my own food anyway. That gets sorted out for me. Happy days.
Yeah.
Why not? Enjoy some chips and mayo in the Netherlands. Treat yourself.
Yeah. I mean, does Red Bull travel with him? Do they take him, or do they just save the airfare?
I don't think you travel with him. I think he has to stay at home doing rehabby stuff, doesn't he?
Learn.
I don't think you can
learn a lesson.
Yeah. Think about what he did. Think about what he did. We've got new contracts as well. Actually, no, we won't do contracts now. Let's just box off the Dutch Grand Prix first, because then I've got some pondering to do re-contracts, because there's a lot of open seats. So let's just box off the Dutch Grand Prix. Zandvoort, goodbye. Dying. We're done with it. No interest anymore. Where does Zandvoort sit for you? You've often got an opinion on a circuit. Where does Zandvoort sit in your list?
Right down there.
Yeah, not a fan.
Right down there. Is it not going on like a rotational one, or is it just completely cooked?
I'm seeing a lot of people say the last Dutch Grand Prix.
Look, if it's the last Dutch Grand Prix, I'm okay with it. It's
interesting.
You know what? I'm going to use an A/B measure. Fun to drive on the game.
Yes, tremendous.
Fun to drive on the game. Wiggly, contours, gradients, elevations, ups and downs, banking, like good fun. And if you nail it, you think you're sat there like all sweaty and you're playing on your Xbox and you're thinking, whew, I could be the guy. I could be the guy. In reality, the cars are too big and the tracks are too small, and the straights aren't long enough to do anything in it. So it's a bit shit.
Yeah, yeah. It's another of these circuits that's being ruined by the cars through no fault of its own. Like I think Zandvoort actually has a lot of nice things that you can do if you can get that slingshot right off the last corner around the banking, and there are some overtaking spots in there, provided your car is not the same width as the track, which they are. So it does get slightly ruined, unfortunately.
What about
Ooh,
an Amsterdam Grand Prix? Like a city famous for its accessibility with motor vehicles could be an option.
I think Sail GP probably do a better job around Amsterdam. A lot of wet bits in the middle. I think
I'm not hearing no.
They might struggle. I think they might struggle.
I guess it would get tricky as well with are you using marshal flags or are you using light boxes to steward the circuit? Because if we're using light boxes, there could be a lot of red lights that constantly stop the Grand Prix.
There could be some unfortunate situations. Yes, if we were to light box. Things could get out of hand there. I think Lando would probably enjoy the new Dutch Grand Prix. Could get out of hand quite quickly, I would say.
So marshals and flags then.
Yeah, I think we're going to have to stick with marshals and flags. We're going to have to stick with marshals and flags. Trophies, tremendous this weekend. The Dutch Grand Prix always needs to have great trophies. The Dutch Grand Prix is once again offering me banging trophies because we are, well, I'll say this. They are banging trophies, but then they're also, they're what I would say is like if this was a video game, and they were making trophies for a video game, this is what they would look like, because they've kept the classic sort of vase styling that we've seen before on these, but they've gone a little bit sort of angular and low poly this year. And they are very pleasant. I like them a lot, but they do feel like a collectible in a video game.
Yeah, like you've just finished level 7 of Crash Bandicoot or something, and you've got yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice.
I like that.
I'm happy.
There's one picture here, and it almost looks like it all lights up, which is
RGB on the trophies.
But I don't know whether that's that could be AI. I do struggle, like generally speaking, nowadays in 2026. I do struggle looking on the internet, wondering what's real and what's AI now. Normally, you can kind of figure it out, but there are some sneaky bastards out there that make things look so good and so believable that it is quite tricky sometimes to figure it out. So I'm going to assume, and they're not kind of light up trophies, but I like them. Good.
Nice business. Right, now let's talk some contracts, because we've had some. We've had the least silly season possible over silly season. Everyone's just locked in. I suppose the silliness is how much Max Verstappen is going to be paid for his new 3-year contract at Red Bull, which is supposedly something like 90 million euros a year or something absolutely and fundamentally daft. Was there ever really a risk of Max going anywhere else, do you think?
Was there a risk? I guess yes. I guess there was. How big the risk was, I don't know. But he's almost he's entitled. He's got himself the right, isn't he, to speak to whoever he wants, and everybody on the grid's going to want to speak to him. And I dare say, had Ferrari or Mercedes have offered him such a compelling offer or deal, that would have associated more risk to it. But it feels like it just synonymous, doesn't he, with Red Bull, and they don't necessarily think it works if they're not kind of paired up together. I did really enjoy the announcement video, though. I did enjoy the
great content,
just the complete brilliance of a dad joke, and so much time for it, and terrible acting, but I think that made it better.
Yes. And as someone that has worked in sports media before and had to play the resigned game of writing press releases, and it doesn't look right, and then you find other words for it. It felt almost slightly out of character for me as well, that announcement from Red Bull. I don't know if this is a new approach from them to feel more approachable. But it they're usually a little bit cooler than that, I think, or they try and be a little bit cooler than that. So that was the kind of announcement I think I would have expected from a McLaren, definitely a Racing Bull.
Yep.
Maybe I could see a Mercedes being slightly cheeky with that, with a Jorge. Didn't feel Red Bully, but I like it. And I think it puts to rest a lot of things. I'm not surprised that they've just thrown insane money at him. I think he probably would likely have retired from F1 and gone and done other series rather than move teams, because I think he's probably only got a couple of years left in F1 before he'll want to go and do other things anyway. And at least he knows how to get to the Milton Keynes campus, doesn't he? He's not remembering a new office location to go to. So
yes,
it's good that he stays in the sport.
He's not driving to Brackley in Papaya and turns up at Milton Keynes by mistake and goes, "Oh, morning, Sue. Ah, fuck, I'm in the wrong place again."
Yeah.
Like, that's not happening, which is good. I don't really think, to be fair, when I said what I did say earlier, there probably weren't a huge amount of options, were there? Because those other big boys in the other top 4 teams, they're not out of contract anyway. No. Like, they're all there to continue. Like, Charles is there long term.
Not performing.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing as well. Charles is there long term. George and Kimi are there locked in beyond 26. Same with the 2 McLaren boys. And it's only then Lewis who all the noises have been... And it has actually, no, he's triggered that extension, hasn't he, to be there for 2027?
Yeah.
Yeah, he has. So he's locked in for 27 anyway. And if it's not then going to be one of those 3 guys, there is going to be no interest from Max to go off anywhere else.
Yeah. Reportedly, news from a couple of days ago that it's likely. I don't think it's necessarily 100% confirmed yet. I don't. Yeah, he's having a good time, isn't he? So
he's enjoying it.
There's no reason for McLaren to rock their own boat and bring him in, because McLaren has 2 drivers that have proven they're capable of winning world championships and races. So why would they bring a personality like Max in to mess with that? That's going to upset your other driver, whichever that other driver is. And now you've got an entirely Max-based team. Toto, we know, is all in on Kimi and George for all the bad luck and results he's had recently. Still a bloody good driver, and at the start of the season, we thought it was going to be those 2 running all the way. So, and then Ferrari, I don't think Max Verstappen fits with Ferrari either. That doesn't feel like a personality hire combo for me that I can see those gelling. I don't think. I think Ferrari wouldn't let him big fish himself in the way that Max Verstappen likes to big fish himself.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure I agree. And I think of all of those drivers in those top 4 teams, I think Charles would be the guy that would be most likely to be moved on. Whilst he has been kind of painted up as the golden boy for Ferrari, like, I think probably the looks and the Monegasque title goes quite well and quite nicely. He's their boy. I don't really think he's kind of done enough of late to justify that long-term contract. So I think of all those guys, if there were one of those teams to kind of go, do you know what? It's not us, it's you. I kind of feel like it would be a Ferrari and Charles.
And then that doesn't work from a wider strategy perspective for Ferrari, because you've got an 87-year-old Lewis Hamilton in your second seat, that if you get rid of your young, talented, but not at the minute, setting the world alight kind of driver, it's bold to get rid of him and leave Unk in the other seat, and then all of a sudden they now have to put an Ollie Behrman in or someone. And again, big fan of Ollie Behrman, but he's not a Ferrari caliber driver as it stands. He's got a little bit of maturing to do into the sport. That's bold. That's a bold play.
Yeah.
So
huge.
Yeah, I don't think it's any real surprise. I have here, which is what I referenced before, the available seats for next year, because there are still actually a surprising amount of seats up for grabs. So I would just like to know from you, Dan, can you see any change happening in these seats? And I'll go through them, or are we just waiting for paperwork to be signed on these? So technically the Red Bull second seat is currently available. Do you see Isaac Hadjar retaining that seat for next year?
Yeah. Unless they just switch him around with Lawson, but it
feels we would have heard whispers by now, I think, if they were unhappy to the level of that. And I think now that Cunt Fossil's not in the team anymore, it feels like they've sort of calmed down a little bit with being quite as cutthroat, perhaps, on where they were. Both Aston Martin seats are vacant for next year.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see Lance going anywhere because why would you keep taking that money and then just, not that he needs the money because he's got daddy's money, but just keep taking that money and go from there.
It's essentially daddy's money, isn't it?
Yes. Fernando, does he drive next year?
I think of all the drivers that haven't got contracts and seats becoming available, I think he would be the most likely that potentially just turns around and goes, "Do you know what? I don't fancy it anymore." Yeah. But as we've spoken about in the past, and I think it is a lot down to safety, it doesn't really matter the fact that he's in his mid-40s or getting closer towards 50 here for Fernando Alonso. There just isn't the extreme kind of penalty of risk associated to Formula One anymore. Yes, of course, it could still happen, and I wouldn't want to kind of see it. But if he potters around at 18th, 19th, 20th, he doesn't seem to be the most motivated guy at the moment. Like he's not particularly kind of shirty over the radio messages anymore. And yeah, if they just turn around and said just hang around for another year, we'd probably say yeah.
Yeah, fair. Haas have got 2 open seats for next year. There was an article I saw that they were looking at Mr. Doohan again. Now, no disrespect to Mr. Doohan, I did think he was given a very rough ride of things in his brief Formula One appearance, but I also don't think he really showed a huge amount to make me root for him, even as an Australian in his brief time. Can you see Haas making any change for next year?
So who's there? Ocon and Behrman, isn't it, at the moment? Behrman, I guess, probably stays there because Ferrari want him to stay there.
Yes, I would agree. And I also think he's done... It's rough with Behrman because I don't think he's actually had a great string of results this year, but you never feel like he's had a shit weekend because I think the expectations on him, I think, are still surprisingly low and rookie season-y because he's got his little baby face and, you know, he's a sort of shy and retiring kind of character. That I don't think he's had a brilliant year, but then also I don't feel like he's under any sort of pressure.
No, I agree. Yeah, sorry, I've been distracted because I wanted to find out how old Esteban Ocon was. And he was 29. He'll be 30 by the time the next. By the next, that's an incredible name. His full name, according to Wikipedia, which must be correct, Esteban Jose Jean-Pierre Ocon Kelfan, I believe is the full name for Esteban Ocon, who, and then I think this might kind of contradict things, but born and raised in Normandy to a working class family. I don't get working class from Esteban Jose Jean-Pierre Ocon Kelfan, if I'm honest. Did you also know that he's been in 2 movies?
I didn't.
He's an actor.
It's one of them the F1 movie.
No, that's not listed. He has been in a film called De la Piste et Étoile, which I think it's French. Apparently Fernando Alonso was in it as well. And Jackie Ickx. Do you know Jackie Ickx?
No.
Older Formula One driver. And he was also, which I assume must be kind of relatively Formula One related, but he was also on, and I mean this, on IMDb, this film got a rating of 5.6 out of 10.
Good business.
And I'll use the word starred, because why not? Starred in a French film on Netflix called Honeymoon Crasher.
Oh, okay. Interesting. I'm not going to watch that. So, yeah.
You could get subtitles, I guess.
I could get subtitles. I still think I probably won't. Do you think he keeps his seat or is he off to acting next year?
Oh, sorry, yeah. I don't really care, if I'm honest. That sounds bad, doesn't it? I don't think we've had this conversation before about Esteban Ocon. Like, he doesn't really mean anything to anybody, does he? He just exists on a Formula One grid. I don't think we're ever going to speak about him kind of going, oh my goodness me, Esteban Ocon's just gone and won the Dutch Grand Prix at any stage of a career.
Yeah.
So no, I'm okay. Just get gone. Go and find somebody else. I don't think Jack Doohan's the guy, but give it to somebody else.
Yeah, fair. Both Williams drivers have locked in. Carlos has
Mm-hmm.
locked in for a little longer than Mr.
Good
Albon.
business,
I think they've
I'd say.
thrown a heap of money at him. I would agree. I think Williams aren't going to do any better on established talent. They could take a punt on a child and see if they could uncover something unbelievable, but then they don't have the hardware at the minute to probably showcase if they had something unbelievable. So there's a good chance they actually burn something if they've got it. I think Carlos brings a lot of value to that with development, provided that he's happy, and he obviously is if he's going to stay for another 3, which I think it was. So well done, Carlos. Ferrari, this on here, the F1 graphic has Hamilton locked in next year. I assume that's because that is options based, and it is just a case of ticking the form. Both Mercedes drivers obviously locked in. There is a second seat available at Alpine alongside Pierre Gasly. I think Franco's probably done enough, particularly if you include the money that he brings with him. I don't see why they would need to bump him for anyone else.
No. Unless
fine, isn't he?
I think Ocon, and they're probably those guys, aren't they? That if somebody turns up with a compelling checkbook, I think becomes a very different conversation. But assuming, let's say Colapinto is bringing $15 million with him to that seat. If somebody else brings $15 million to that seat, I think you stick with Colapinto.
Yeah. You'd have to seriously outweigh him, wouldn't you? I think if you were going to knock him off.
Think so.
And then both RB drivers are also out of contract.
Yeah.
I think they've done pretty well, realistically. I don't think... I think they've probably maximized the machinery available, and the machinery has been pretty decent this year. You're not expecting them to knock off, Formula One teams. They're very much a 1.5 kind of bracket. I don't know what else you could really want from them. I guess the only argument would be Red Bull use that as a feeder program. Are they showing enough to be future Red Bull drivers? Maybe not.
Mm-hmm.
But they haven't been embarrassing themselves. I would say that they're probably worth another 12. I would say another lap round.
Yeah, Lindblad definitely. He's got age on his side, hasn't he? Lawson, how old's Lawson now? This is coming from a man in his mid-30s, and I'm about to call Liam Lawson old.
24.
24, so no great age. But yeah, I think the point you make about it being a feeder program, I think is interesting, because is there starting to be a little bit of a logjam with someone who's going to be 25 next year sat in the junior team. And I think we've seen enough from Lawson that he wouldn't be the guy that goes long-term in the big boy team. Maybe the next cab off the rank if it was a case of going, go on then, give it. We need him for 12 months, or we need him for 6 months, but we're not signing him to a 3-year contract at Red Bull. So is there one of these other youngsters that are coming up through Formula 2, Formula 3 that is ready to graduate and ready to get a go in that next seat at 18 years old or 17 years old? Because yes, 25 is not a great age, but if you chop it down to 18, that's quite a big difference as a percentage there, isn't it? To save on age and see what somebody else might have about.
Yeah. Yeah, I did wonder while you were saying that. I started pondering whether the reason, when I asked earlier, why would you not just take Yuki into the Red Bull seat, is Liam going into that Red Bull seat this weekend as a last hurrah audition of, we can't have you in our junior team anymore. You either show us you can do it in the senior team and be better than Isaac, or, we're not fussed anymore. We're going to bring another child in. Maybe. Yeah. But, awkward one. I think any other team, if they were both at Alpine, I think they'd both stay for next year. I think it's just the fact that it's, what's that team for? Because they are maximizing at the minute. There you go. Hey, that's all our drivers for next year. Good. Which is kind of exciting. I'm full of games today. I have another game because the Formula One website has published the results of some polling they did. This is, I assume it's a mailing list or something that they send out. And so I have the percentages of a lot of the races we've got so far this year. And this is the percentages of people asked that voted that race was either good or excellent. So these are people that said a race was good or excellent. What percentage of people?
No other options?
There are other options, but this is the percentage of people that said it was good or excellent, is how they got this number. Now, I will tell you on here, it will come to no surprise that Monaco is the lowest percentage on the on the board.
Heathens, the uncultured swines.
What I will say, 47% of people thought that this year's Monaco Grand Prix was good or excellent. Grow up. The fuck do you mean?
Yeah. Good eating, that. 47%.
It's up 21% from last year.
Was it 21% better than last year?
Now, I would also say Japan, 48%. Apparently, this year's Japanese Grand Prix was 1% better than Monaco. Well, it's not quite how the metrics work, but 1% more people said it was good or excellent compared to Monaco.
When you think about the 2026 Japanese Grand Prix, what is it you think about?
It wasn't good. I think we agreed it was very much not a banger.
I think of Oliver Behrman's massive crash as the first thing. And then I think of something that I would probably need to fact check, but the launch of the Cherry Red Bull V-Car car, which I think raced at Suzuka. And other than that, I'm drawing a bit of a blank.
Yeah, I can tell you the best race so far this year based on this system. 84% of people thought that the Canadian Grand Prix was good or excellent.
Canadian Grand Prix. What happened at the Canadian Grand Prix?
Now, I had this response to most of these on the list. That I was like, I can't remember what happened there.
What did happen at the Canadian Grand Prix?
It's up 15% from last year, I can tell you that much. Interestingly, a lot of these are up from last year. Very few of these are down. Only Great Britain and Australia are down. Australia is down dramatically, but last year was obviously a wet track and quite a bit happened. And Great Britain is down 20%, 69%. And Australia is down to 61% from 86.
I'm just trying to...
I think, was there something with Jorge? Was he going back and forth?
He retired from the lead in the closing stages at Montreal, apparently, according to
him
Silverstone.
And Kimi were going back and forth. Kimi was, that's right. Kimi was getting real arsey behind him, wasn't he? He was making outrageous moves and taking far too many risks. I remember now.
Yes. Hamilton finished second.
Nice.
And Lando retired.
There you go. There you go.
Yep.
We have a little bit of super picking to do as well, and we have a little bit of team radio. Should we fire some team radio off first? You can get involved if you have team radio. teamradio@lapdownpod.com. You can email in like Lynn and Dan too have done, or you can do it on DMs and all the rest of it. But we say hello to Lynn first of all, because Lynn has sent in some pictures of her Monopoly progress. I didn't realize making all the pieces from scratch as well out of Fimo. It's like Play-Doh, but then you bake it to actually make it hard. But she's made her cars on that, which is, to be fair, I mean, serious effort for game pieces from Lynn. Lynn was in Germany/Austria on vacation. Thanking you, Lynn. And we have quite a lot of email from Dan too. Dan too, hello, the official bubbly energy partner of the Lap Down podcast.
Just hang on. Is there any way, because obviously we are an audio based medium, as stated by Lynn on her holiday from Germany/Austria. Is there any way of getting these visuals included in the podcast for those that are viewing the podcast to be able to enjoy them as well? Because they're interesting. They are interesting. And the little bits look quite tasty, don't they?
They do look like, and I don't know if you're allowed to call them this anymore. They look like a midget gem. Are we still allowed to call them midget gems? The little...
Oh, I don't know whether you can call them midgets, or do you have to call them like... I'm not going to... No, I started off the podcast badly. I'm not going to carry on. But yeah, they look like they would provide a decent bit of chew and probably taste a bit like a blue raz.
Which is why I think we have to have warnings on packaging, is because of people like you that can't keep things out their mouth.
Yeah,
yes, I will put these pictures on the screen as we talk about this for the people that get involved.
So now that you're adding the pictures to the screen, Do you have a favorite? So if you were playing, if we were invited to Germany/Austria,
Yes.
the last time the colonies were invited to that area of the world was to sort some stuff out.
Mm.
Which team are you racing for in the Monopoly German/Austrian Grand Prix?
I like little brother McLaren, not Lando.
The
I like
baby
Oscar.
McLaren.
I like the baby McLaren.
Mm-hmm. The
I
F2
like the baby
McLaren.
The baby McLaren, or possibly what I assume is the baby Red Bull in the top.
Yeah.
I like little
The
baby
V-carb.
ones because they look cartoony to me. Because they're sort of like they're a little squashed in. I just want to pinch the little cheeks of those ones.
Okay, good, nice. I like it. I quite like the OG Mercedes, like the proper Silver Arrow Mercedes. I'd probably pay that one. Or alternatively, I think I'm getting a lot of downforce from the front wing on that Aston Martin.
Yeah, nice color as well. The British Racing green color. Not great chat this, by the way, for those of you that aren't watching and our audio medium. You're gonna have to go and seek it out. Go and find it. It's worth a look.
Yep.
And then Dan 2, the official Bubbly Energy partner, is here with a lot of info, which is going to get very serious for our podcast. It's actually very useful. First of all, I'm not going to grant an official apology because we've done too many of those recently, but we have upset our Bubbly Energy partner.
Oh, no.
As he points out, at 4 minutes and 18 seconds, roughly, we discussed in the Danspiracy episode what beverages we would consume while watching the F1, and we did neglect to mention the official Bubbly Energy partner or any of his liquids. Look, it stung. It stung deep, is Dan's official words. Yes,
Sorry, Dan.
but that's because I use my Bubbly Energy when I require energy. So I'm using it in a sporting context. I'm not using it in an idle, casual context. That's my excuse. What's your excuse, Dan?
I haven't got one.
Exactly. Cracking.
Just haven't got one. I haven't got one. I do apologize. I was just thinking more about your day-to-day performance and how much better it could be if you were consuming bubbly energy on a day-to-day basis.
Yes.
Like how much quicker could you do your hoovering if, for example, you had a pair of wings?
I've got a little robot that does my hoovering. So I've got a pair of
wheels. How does it get up the stairs?
It doesn't. It just does the ground floor. And then I just was it's spare bedrooms upstairs. They don't need a regular.
So you have two hoovers. You're a two hoover household.
I'm a two hoover household. I've got a manual hoover and a little robot that does
Moneybags McGee over here.
It mops the floor as it goes.
A two hoover double garage.
Yeah, a single garage, double driveway. Right. Dan says he's got some info for us. I shan't read all of it. It is wonderfully insightful, though, and it gives us an idea. But he's filling in our questions about the real and perceived gaps between Big Boy Red Bull and Baby Red Bull. And he says that they are both owned by the same sub-company, which is Red Bull GmbH, which I believe is like the German, that's the registration of a Big Boy company there. I think it might be Austria as well, which technically means that any employee of VCarb or Big Daddy Red Bull Racing is employed by the same business, but their contracts specifically state that you can't just be reassigned from one to the other. So there are divisions in there, despite them being, in theory, departments of the same company. He does say, obviously, there's nothing that they can do to make an employee suddenly forget every innovation they saw in their last job when they slide over. But he does highlight the most important aspect is the seriousness with which Red Bull sort of approaches any of that, which I think we did touch on last time, that it's an honesty system almost, because what would they stand to gain by almost sort of blowing themselves up a little bit?
Yeah.
And as Dan says, the brand damage, the sporting damage, financial damage, etc., means it's just not worth it. And they know they're going to be scrutinized more heavily. So thank you kindly for filling in. And just confirming, I think, what we sort of assumed was probably the case, that there would be opportunities, but they're making sure they keep it locked down. But that's at Team Radio.
Makes sense.
That's from Dan too.
Good.
Team Radio at lapdownpod.com. If you want to get involved, Dan, should we pick some drivers in a super way? Now, you alluded earlier, we have some shaking up that's going on. I will let you pick first this week.
Okay.
Are you going to go for any of the team changey boys, or are you playing it straighter than that?
I, I, I I'm playing it straighter.
Mm.
I wanted Lawson
Mm-hmm.
because if you're going to use Lawson, you might as well use him now. And I burnt
Yeah.
him in Japan, so I can't use him. So, with that in mind, sprint weekend of the Dutch Grand Prix.
Sprinty, a lot of points.
Has he resigned? Has he re-signed?
Mm.
Do. I'm going for Max Verstappen.
Fair. Yep. It's
Makes sense, doesn't it?
it does. It does make
Some
sense.
low-hanging fruit.
It's the fact it's before I knew it was a sprunter, I was seeing this weekend potentially as a burn weekend. Or a downfield weekend, because I think there's some lapping potential at Zandvoort. It's not the longest of tracks. I feel like you see some cars getting overtaken under blue flags. But sprunting, I think you got to cash in. And I'm looking down my list, and I don't actually have a huge amount of cash in boys anymore, unfortunately, because I've tried to cash in previously already.
Yep.
So I have Hamilton cash in possibly, but I think I'm going to cash in with my main boy, my orange Aussie. I am going to cash in with Oscar. Yes, he's looked all right recently. McLaren on a little bit of an up and up. McLaren have, which we haven't talked about, a creasy rear wing end, which is just unbelievable Formula One innovation. Find a picture of it. It's crinkly. It's as if someone's ribbed the wing for my pleasure. And I hope that Oscar ribs me for my pleasure. So I'm going to take Oscar Piastri for a ribbing this weekend, please.
Nice. Well, we started about penis chat.
Yes.
Or nipple chat, which evolved into penis chat. And we're going to end on penis chat. So we've come full circle here on the Lap Down podcast. Dan 2, Rosie, we need your picks in for super picking. I am quite surprised, considering, and I don't know whether it's been mentioned across the course of the season, but you're quite a long way behind. And I did wonder whether you were going to roll the big boy dice and go for the Lawson pick. But it's locked in now. You've gone for Oscar P, and that's okay.
Yeah, not on a sprunter for Liam. He might have gotten a little bit more risk. I can see Liam having a terrible weekend. Just going to throw that out there very late in the podcast. I can see that adjustment being quite a difficult one to make, and that Red Bull has not looked the most drivable at times this year. So I could see a gravelly Lawson. There you go. It's my hot take.
It's not where you want to pick your supers, is it?
No, very much not. Right, Dan, where can they find you on the internet?
Dan Jedds on the internet is a great place to find me, if you'd like to. If you don't want to, that's fine, because I'll be back here in a couple of days' time talking about how good the Dutch Grand Prix was and how gutted we both are with the fact that it's not going to be on the calendar next year, because it has provided the best racing.
Sounds good to me.
In
Sounds
26.
good to me.
Like that YouGov poll or whatever it was that you kind of went through.
Yeah.
It's going to be 100% for the Dutch Grand Prix.
Right. I look forward to it.
You?
If you
what are you up to?
Games, twitch.tv/Hey Look It's Alex. You can go and do that there. You can also go to mediaberry.co.uk if you want to read stuff from me about tech and all the rest of it. And also, if you go over to Dan Jad's, you'll see Keeper and First on there, which is the same two people you're listening to now talking about cricket and bat and ball games instead of wheelie-based games. But that's us for now. We're going to go eat some chips and mayo and stuff like that and do marijuanas and then go and watch some sprunting. So that's it from us. Have a wonderful Dutch Grand Prix, and we'll see you all next week. Little pip.
Bye, folks.